strikes.
Here's Jack Musa on the breakaway, looking for two, he's got it! Jack Musa across to O'Hara, he scores! That's a program record for point streak!
Here's Donald Mills on the doorstep, they score!
Hello everyone, we are back with another episode of the UMass Hockey Preview Show presented by UMass Journalism. I am John Ruggiero.
And I'm Jacob Repper. We'll unpack a pretty frustrating series versus the Boston College Eagles, catch up with a few players after practice, and preview another Hockey East series, this time versus the Providence Friars.
We've got a fun show ahead, but first we have to backtrack to this past weekend against Boston College. A ranked rivalry Hockey East matchup, unfortunately for UMass, did not go their way this time around, Jacob.
No, it did not. It's a game that UMass wants to have at least the split. We'll see what happens here. It all starts out pretty good for the Minutemen. We talk about how when they score first, they are 5-0. They do so here on the road. It's Jack Galenic, his second of the career from Jack Musa, puts the Minutemen up 1-0.
And here's Dean Letourneau with a beautiful tip in front. The Bruins draft pick ties the game right away midway through the first.
Musa already with 1 point. This time gets the goal, and it's a gorgeous one. In the near circle, picks his corner, top shelf where Mama hides the cookies, makes it 2-1 Minutemen.
Back again with BC here. Drew Fortescue, left side of the zone. The Rangers pick sends one to the left side of that past Jackson Irving, ties the game at 2.
Then it's James Hagens, the Boston Bruins draft pick from Teddy Stiga. Great connection between those two. Snipes that one. James Hagens, the Long Island native, makes that 3-2 as the teams go to the third.
And BC went to the power play to the start the third here. Never what you want to do if you're UMass. And because of that, Ryan Conmey, the one-timer, takes the 4-2 lead.
And it's insult to injury for the Minutemen. Will Vogt scores on the doorstep. Nothing Jackson Irving can do there. Letourneau with the assist.
And then back the other way, UMass actually responded here on the power play. Daniel Yenchko, after a great feed from Jack Galenic, did cut into the BC lead. But then to finish things off, it's Will Traeger. His first career goal makes it 7-3. That's the final. Not the way UMass wanted to start this series. And as the series shifted back to Amherst, unfortunately for UMass, it did not go much better. The Minutemen put up a valiant effort with similar amount of chances on net as BC, but the score told a different story as the Eagles took this game 4-0.
It's frustrating, John, because you want to get the sweep, and then when you lose game one, then you're looking for the split. You come onto home ice, and there you see it right there. This is the story for the Minutemen. 0-for-3 on the power play. Coach Carvel says it all the time. You have to have good special teams and a good goaltender to win games. Face-offs as well, just 40%. They did rebound 32 shots. That's almost double than what they had the night before. And you got to give Jackson Irving credit. I mean, this is a kid, hasn't seen a lot of time before this season, comes in, puts everything on the line for you, but unfortunately for the Minutemen, they couldn't get the scoring that they needed to come out on top.
35 shots for BC, 32 for UMass, not that far off. So let's take a look at what Greg Carvel and a couple of players had to say after Game 2.
Solid game. It was a game that, which team was going to get a bounce or a deflection. We had some chances early in the game. Would have been nice to score early and maybe takes the game on a different course, but it's tight checking. Teams just dumping and trying to earn it back. And they get a couple pucks to the net with some deflections, and that was a difference in the game. But I was happy with our group tonight.
And obviously no goals. Just kind of what proponent of that do you think was missing tonight?
I think it was a lack of our entry. I think it took too many attempts to get in the zone. Like a lot of times we wasted a minute just getting in the zone, and then they broke it out pretty easy. But I think we were trying to do too much. It could be as simple as getting a puck in deep and winning a battle, but that's something we're going to work on this practice this week.
And obviously, first week of the season for you guys. How do you respond going into Providence next week, just to have a short memory?
I think it's just coming out hard the first night. We've kind of had two crappy ones the past 2 weekends. We got to come out ready to respond night one on the road and kind of prove that we are still a good team and trusting each other that we'll get back to our winning ways.
After the sweep against Boston College, let's check in on the USCHO men's poll for this week as UMass falls down 5 spots.
It's only November, so it may be a little silly to start looking at the polls, but, well, why not? Let's take a look. 7 Hockey East teams in the top 20, And, John, that just goes to show you how competitive this conference is. Maine leading the way. Then you have UConn, Northeastern, BC. UMass is in the mix there. But all these teams so close, so much parity. We haven't seen a lot of changing over these past couple weeks. I expect that to change coming up, which we'll talk about in a little bit when UMass plays Providence.
Yeah, Jacob, hockey saw a little bit of a slide here, actually, though. They had some teams well within the top 10. Now everyone actually just either barely in the top 10 or outside of it. Of course, Maine in 10th right there. But, of course, for UMass, not only have they slid down the poll, they've slid down the hockey standings. 1-4 in conference, which is dead last there. So after a weekend of few positives, there's one player who helped himself into the lineup with a little more regularity this past weekend, Jacob.
That's, of course, Colson Hanrahan. Everybody needs a helping Hanrahan, and they've got it in their freshman defenseman from Longmeadow, Massachusetts. John, Coach Carvel's talked about how much depth this team has, and when you have great defenders like Lucas Olvestad, Owen Murray, Larry Keenan, Francesco Dell'Elce, it's tough for a freshman to get his time, but Coach Carvel said some great things about him. Owen Murray, after the game against Boston College, couldn't stop raving about him, and that shows in the ice time as well. 11:38 in the series versus BC. Before, he only played a couple of games, 2 or 3 minutes. So for him to slide into the lineup, that gives Coach Carvel even more depth, which is only a good thing for this Minutemen defensive core that probably needs it right now.
Yeah, Jacob Carvel raving about him there. Said he's a smart player. He's rough. And he's a hard kid to play against. And he's not really a big guy, so he makes up for it with his physical presence. Made a couple big hits this past weekend. So we caught up with a freshman earlier this week. Here's what he had to say.
So first of all, what's it been like adapting to your role now with spot in the lineup and everything?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Just starts in practice, and we work hard in practice, makes it easier in the games for me.
Which players have helped you adjust to college hockey and playing for UMass?
Yeah, everyone, honestly, like practice, like I said, just we work hard. So, but specifically like Bo Cosman, Kennedy O'Connor, this has happened to them where they started off like not really playing that much, and they've kind of gotten me. So.
Another Hockey East beast is on tap for UMass in the form of the Providence Friars. And we're going to actually take a look at the Friars here on the big board. They played Merrimack this past weekend, and let's roll the clip if we can. They create chaos in front of the net here, and the puck's going to cycle up top. We'll stop it here. Roger McQueen right there in black. He gets a little bit lost in translation, at least in terms of these Merrimack defenders here. 3 guys in front, all looking at the loose puck here. And that player is actually going to get a shot on goal, and we'll roll it as McQueen is there wide open for the rebound to pot it into the back of the net. We'll talk a little bit more about Roger McQueen. He is a huge force for this Friars offense. But let's take a look at the replay. If we stop it, just roll it back just a hair if we can. Stop it there. Look at this. All 3 of these players here selling out for this block shot. And McQueen, the open man, once again to put it in the back of the net. So Providence, they split last weekend against Merrimack, a home-and-home matchup. Won at home 4-2, at least in this game, then lost 3-2 on the road to the Warriors. So Jacob, can you tell me how this team looks on paper?
Let me get you caught up with this team, John. This is a Providence team that last year, they were great. They went to the first round of the NCAA tournament. They lost to Denver, but they returned, not a lot of players. This is a very young team. 12 newcomers, just 7 upperclassmen, 1 transfer in Brandon Rose. But the strength of this team is on the defensive side of things. Phillips Fedback, 10 games played this year, a 2.55 goals against average, 907 save percentage. This Providence team historically is so good defensively, and in the faceoff category as well, 4th in the nation. That's an area for the Minutemen that they're probably really concerned about. However, the weakness of this Providence team, John, is what?
The weaknesses are their age and their penalty minutes per game, Jacob. 8th youngest in the league. UMass is pretty young as well, but Providence, 21.4 average age. And as for their penalty minutes, almost 12 per game. That's 19th most nationally. So UMass, of course, they don't take a lot of penalty minutes. I think about half of that, right around 6. And as well, UMass, they have a good power play, at least top 15 in the nation. So UMass will want to capitalize on those mistakes for Providence.
I'm excited for this matchup, John, because Providence, great goaltender. UMass, we'll see which goaltender they have in net, but this is a team A lot of offensive depth. You look at guys like Roger McQueen that you just talked about before. 10th overall pick last year, Anaheim. John Mustard leading the way with 7 goals. He's a third-round pick from Chicago. They've got some good scoring. Should be a good matchup for the Minutemen.
It should be, Jacob. It'll all take place this Thursday and Saturday. Another home-and-home matchup for UMass. But that's all we have on this edition of the UMass Hockey Preview Show presented by UMass Journalism. I am John Ruggiero.
And I'm Jacob Repper. Next week, Thanksgiving, we'll have a special episode for you on Wednesday. We'll recap this Providence series and do some reconnaissance on the Army Black Knights. We'll see you then.